Oh, what's happening? Man. What's happening? What's happening? What's cracking? Uh, what's happening?
Let me tell the American people something so we get this. Men are not loved. Men have to put their fucking foot in folks' ass. Men have to lay down the law. Men have to lay down the truth. Donald Trump is a man. The fact that all these fucking women hating him shows that he's doing exactly what men do. I'm despising my own motherfucking house. Because if I let the women do what they want to do, it'll be a fucking shit show. Men. Barack Obama didn't love America. Barack Obama treated America the way women want him to treat America. Bill Clinton treated America the way women. Donald Trump is treating America the way a man would treat America. I don't give a fuck about your feelings. White people only make up 7% of the world. Stop killing your fucking babies. We gonna die off. That's what Donald Trump says. Hey, Mexico, take your fucking criminals back. Canada, you need to be a part of the fucking USA. It costs us a lot of money to protect you son of a bitches. Russia, calm the fuck down. Y'all know we'll bomb on y'all motherfucking ass. China and North, y'all chill the fuck out too. Man shit. Barack Obama was giving Iran billions of dollars. Man shit. Men always gonna be hated. Men ain't loved or missed until we gone. That's when you look up one day and everything is in fucking shambles. And you say, God damn, what's going on around here? Granddaddy dead. Granddaddy gone. And grandma done let everything turn to fucking shambles.
Yeah, man. The media, man. The media not liking this, man. The media is not liking this. They trying to spin this, man. They got to find a way to spin this and make it negative, man. He forcing the media to root against America. That's what he's doing, man. He's forcing the media. The mainstream media has to now root against America. Jesus Christ. Wait till me get started. Oh, hello? Wait till I start my show to call me. That's crazy, man. She waits until I stop my show to call me and ask me to do something. That's fucking crazy. God, dog.
I don't care what nobody says. This motherfucker just took away the Equal Employment Act. I can't, like, you cannot make this shit up. I don't.
Yes, you can, and yes, you did. He did not take away the equal employment laws. He did not take away any of your rights. None. This is all liberal logic. He didn't take away any of this. Only thing he took away is your fucking excuses. Now your excuses are out the door. What are you gonna do? You can either earn a job by merit, or earn a job by resume, earn a job by working hard. Why does that bother you? Y'all love to be put in positions which you didn't earn. And for me, that bothers me. I don't want any job that they put me in place of employment due to my skin color. I don't want it. That doesn't make sense to me. That's not how the world should work. That I feel bad for all the white Americans that had to live through anything but the opposite. They work hard too. Argue.
We had a flood down here today, man. My fucking basement flooded, man. Shit. I'm sitting here. I'm 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 doing the show and the floor is wet as a motherfucker. I wouldn't say it's flooded, but it's wet as hell. The floor is wet as hell. Um, Salute, man. No, I don't smell. It's just wet. Uh, my God. I was not happy about that game today, man. That game today, I was not happy about that game. Redskins fucking fumbled the ball. They fumbled the ball all over the goddamn place. Niggas kept dropping the ball. All the veterans wanted to fumble. All the veterans wanted to fumble. The young boys played good, man. We were in it, and we just fumbled it away, man. And Philly is a good team, man. They're a very good team. Fumbled it away, man. We fumbled it away, Jack. Trump spanked boy, man. They trying to. I'm surprised they. I'm surprised they're not trying to spin this as like racist. Oh, look how Trump treats leaders of color. Look how Trump treats leaders of color. He treated this man of color with no respect. This is a man of color. Look at the way Trump just treated him with no respect. Watch. They will try to flip it some kind of way. They got to try to flip it some kind of way. The media.
Donald Trump managed to do in 6 minutes today proves three things about the previous president of the United States. First, let me tell you what happened. 2 U.S. cargo planes filled with illegal immigrants from Colombia were sent back to Colombia, but the president of Colombia, this guy right here, said, no, we don't want your planes. They're not allowed to land. Take them back. Well, Donald Trump was not very happy about that. Donald Trump went on Truth Social and said, I was just informed that 2 repatriation flights from the United States with a large number of illegal criminals were not allowed to land in Colombia. And then he talked about how unpopular this guy is. And then he said, here's what we're going to do. And here's what he proposed in retaliation. 25% tariffs. Boom. A travel ban for all Colombian government officials. Bam. Bad stuff for Colombians. Bad stuff for Colombians. More bad stuff for Colombians. Whap, pow, pow. Here's where it gets really exciting. 6 minutes later, or 6 minutos, as they say in Colombia, the Colombian president announced not only was he going to accept the deportees, but he was going to send his own private presidential plane to the United States to pick them up. So what 3 things did we learn? Number 1, tariffs work. Number 2, Donald Trump isn't afraid to use everything in his power to keep the American people safe. And number 3, there's people in this world who still think Joe Biden is in charge.
Wow. Yeah, Trump had the spank boy, man. Just give him a light little tap, man. That wasn't even a big spanking. That was a light little tap. That was just a little. That wasn't really a big spanking. Trump just gave him pops on his pows on his. Trump gave him pows on his pop or whatever the fuck that little boy said. If you want to come up, man, link is in the description, man. Shout out to Cool Cat, man. Shout out to Cool Cat.
President Trump's whirlwind first week is ending with another bang. Earlier today, the president announced he's slapping a 25% tariff on all imports from Colombia. That includes crude oil, coffee, bananas, and cut flowers. The move is in retaliation for Colombia's decision to rescind permission for 2 U.S. Air Force deportation flights to land. President Trump now says Colombia's actions threaten U.S. national security. Today, Borders Czar Tom Homan joined ICE and DEA agents in Chicago, where officials say they conducted targeted operations. The U.S. military flew several deportation flights this week with troops and Border Patrol agents escorting shackled migrants onto massive C-17 cargo planes. And more troops continue to arrive at the southern border. An additional 1,500 active duty personnel have been deployed. All of this comes as the Trump cabinet takes shape, with several of his picks facing potentially contentious hearings this week. ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang leads us off.
Tonight, President Donald Trump retaliating against Colombian President Gustavo Petro with a blitz of tariffs and sanctions after he says the country refused to accept 2 U.S. military planes carrying recently deported migrants. Trump announcing the U.S. will impose 25% tariffs on all Colombian imports, threatening to raise them to 50% in a week. A move that could raise consumer costs for the billions of dollars worth of goods that the U.S. imports from Colombia each year, including crude oil, coffee, and bananas. Trump also imposing travel bans and visa restrictions on Colombian government officials and their supporters, vowing these measures are just the beginning. President Petro responding on social media saying Colombia will impose reciprocal 50% tariffs on U.S. goods, telling Trump, "I resist you." The international dispute capping a whirlwind first week in office for Trump that featured a torrent of executive orders and presidential proclamations.
I took nearly 350 executive actions to reverse the horrible failures and betrayals that we inherited.
Many of them aimed at dramatically reshaping America.
Our message could not be more clear. America's decline is over.
Overnight, 7 Democrats joining Republicans in the Senate to confirm Kristi Noem as Homeland Security Secretary, putting the former South Dakota governor in charge of the department at the center of Trump's immigration crackdown.
The vice president votes in the affirmative, and the nomination is confirmed.
And in a dramatic moment on the Senate floor, Vice President J.D. Vance casting the deciding vote to confirm Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense.
Mr. Vice President, thank you for breaking the tie.
3 Republican senators voting against Trump's controversial choice to run the Pentagon. The military veteran and former Fox News host fending off allegations of sexual misconduct, financial mismanagement, and alcohol abuse, allegations that he's denied. This as Democratic lawmakers and even some Republicans are blasting Trump for purging independent government watchdogs on Friday night. Sources tell ABC News that Trump fired at least 17 inspectors general, officials tasked with rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse across the government.
This is a chilling purge.
And Lindsay, next week will be a crucial test for Donald Trump's other cabinet nominees. The Senate will hold confirmation hearings for Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence, RFK Jr. to lead Health and Human Services, and Kash Patel for FBI Director. Now, they all face an uphill battle, which is why next week will be make or break. Lindsay?
We'll be watching. Selena, thank you.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos starts right now.
A head-spinning kickoff.
America's decline is over.
From terminating federal diversity programs to deporting immigrants on military aircraft, President Trump aggressively begins his first week back in office with a blitz of executive actions.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted.
This morning, our Sunday exclusive with new border czar Tom Homan.
If they've been here 30 years, if they have a job, if they're working on a farm, they should be scared.
If you're in the country illegally, you got a problem, and we're looking for you.
ABC's Matt Rivers on the border with American troops, and Michigan's new Democratic Senator Alyssa Slotkin responds. Presidential power. Trump pushes the limits of his authority, pardoning more than 1,500 January 6th rioters.
These were people that actually love our country.
What happened to backing the blue?
So what's legal and what's on shaky ground in these executive orders? Former U.S. Attorneys Chris Christie and Preet Bharara on what's next.
So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. Secretary.
Plus, after the narrow confirmation of new Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, will Trump's remaining nominees make it true? Our Powerhouse Roundtable tackles it all. And Elon's influence.
He takes risks. He sometimes blows things up, and that's what he's going to do in government.
With the world's richest man now joining President Trump at the White House, Elon Musk's biographer explains what drives the tech titan.
From ABC News, it's This Week. Here now, Martha Raddatz.
Good morning and welcome to This Week, the first week of Donald Trump's return to the Oval Office, and he wasted no time. The president ordering an end to federal diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, freezing federal hiring, and firing at least 17 inspectors general who serve as independent watchdogs of federal agencies. Trump also made good on his commitment to free those convicted for their actions during the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, commuting or pardoning some 1,500 rioters, including those who violently assaulted police officers. And on the world stage, taking aim at Russia, warning President Vladimir Putin of possible economic sanctions if he doesn't engage in negotiations with Ukraine, declaring it's time to make a deal. The president also pledging to take back the Panama Canal, threatening tariffs against China, Mexico, Canada, and all of Europe. It is a rapid rollout of Trump's agenda, with no issue more central to his presidency than immigration. President Trump declaring a national emergency at the border, shutting down refugee arrivals, ordering 1,500 armed active duty military to the border. And all of this will now be overseen by his new defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, sworn in after Vice President J.D. Vance had to cast the tie-breaking vote for his Senate confirmation late Friday. He takes over a department already deeply involved in delivering on Trump's America First agenda. For the first time in history, military aircraft transporting undocumented immigrants back to their home countries, a practice Trump's border czar tells me.
Mainstream media is not happy about this, man. They are not happy about this, man. They want to find a way to spin this, man. They're trying to spin this in a way, but they just can't, man. What's up, Cool Cat? What's happening? Okay. Everyone hit the like button, man. Smash that like button, man. All right. Yeah, my daughter's feeling much better, man. Shout out to you, man.
Yo, did you read it? Yeah, my bad. I was on mute, but did you read the super chat I sent you? You got it?
Yeah, man. Salute, man. Yeah, she doing much better, man. Much better. Thank you, man.
But anyway, honestly, bro,
Maybe you have seen some of it.
I think Trump's doing a good job, man. Colombia, that guy flipped real quick. He was saying that he's not gonna accept them and whatever. But once Trump put his foot down, he's like, "Oh yeah, okay."
Yeah, he tried it. Like it's like he tried it. Like he's like that was actually good that he tried it because he allowed Trump to use him as an example for other world leaders. You know what I mean? And that way, the other world leaders would be like, they won't have to, try him because they'll be like, okay. Because they know how he was. There was no wars. There was none of this bullshit last time he was in power. But last time he was president. But sometimes you just need to, test the water. You know what I mean? Try to, he tried it. He got put in his place real quick.
Yeah, he didn't realize that it's not Joe Biden in charge no more.
Yeah, I mean, listen. When you, like the guy said earlier, when you are a strong man, the U.S. is not used to having a strong man. We usually operate as if we're just another country. We never operate as if we are the world police, as if we have all the cards.
Yeah,
we usually operate as if like we're bargaining with people. We bargain with little teeny countries and shit. We beg and plead them to do stuff, and if they don't, we have all the cards. We have the biggest economy, by far the biggest military, by far the most sophisticated military. We have the best in everything. Only thing we don't have the best in is education. Education we're lagging behind, but as far as that doesn't matter because we have the best in everything else. So it's like we can technology, but we're number one. We don't have to play around with you. We can just pluck you across the room if we feel like it, man. And this is and American leaders rarely behave like that. They always want to be, liked and be one of the guys. No, we're not one of the guys. We're not one of the guys. We're the world police. We have bases in 160 countries. So yeah, man, I'm glad that he's acting like it, man. Salute the boy Kachina, man. He says, "Cool Cat and Nation of Ak, hit the thumbs up if you want to rock. Peace. Shout out to boy Kachina, man. Let's see what's going on in Texas, man.
Maybe you have seen some of this on social media, these videos, or the crowds themselves. A large turnout trying to send a message, and we've seen plenty of it all afternoon. Let's get right now live to our Ken Molestina. He is there in West Dallas, there on the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge, talking to some of those who have organized that particular march. Ken?
Yeah, Steve, and you were talking about the chant.
Yo, this dude name is Ken Molestina, man. Yo, what the fuck? Yo, Ken Molestina?
What her name?
The fuck?
Bro, I would change
Yo, you
that.
better watch your mouth. Yeah, Ken Molestina. If you say something we don't like, man, we got Trump put you in one of these fucking planes. Your name is criminal, motherfucker. Be careful what you say, man.
CSIP, where the Yes We Can, something we have heard a lot out here today. This is a demonstration or protest that began at 3 o'clock, and I want you to have a look over my shoulder so you can see what's left of it here. Several hundred people out here off of Singleton and Beckley. This is on the west side of the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge. Now, I can tell you that everything here has been very peaceful so far, but I will tell you that Dallas PD right now, keeping a real close eye on this crowd, they were asking them to stay off the street, to stay on the sidewalks in the median. But as you can see, they have taken the street now, and they are marching down in a westerly direction on Singleton, down towards the Trinity Groves area. But again, this is something that at its peak, we estimated north of 1,000 people showed up to this. So let's show you some video of what it looked like earlier here today. Again, this is a protest, a demonstration that was organized earlier this week. It was organized by a couple of 16-year-olds on social media. You're going to hear from one of them in just a little bit. But again, this call for action, this call for protesters and demonstrators to show up is something that gained a lot of speed in the past couple of days here. And of course, it all started here at 3 o'clock on this Saturday over here on the west side of the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge. It is an area that is known to many immigrant families, to families who like to come out here on the weekends and spend some time, some downtime, and enjoy some leisure out here. So that's why they picked this spot. I want you to hear what one of the organizers had to say. Have a listen.
To be honest, we didn't expect that we were going to get this much attention on social media. It started with a small idea on TikTok, and it became something really big. Don't be afraid if you can't speak up for yourself.
Okay, you can stay, but she got to go. Press 1. You can stay, she got to go.
If there is someone out there that will, try not to be rude or like mean. You know, someone that's probably undocumented that works at a store. It could be anyone. It could be your neighbor, or it could be someone in your neighborhood. Just don't have a cruel heart, man. We're all human, and we just came here for the American dream.
All right, back out live. I want to give you another look down the street from what we can see here. This is what I was telling you about, Steve, earlier. These are the crowds that were being asked to stay to the sidewalks and to the median.
Say, nah, she got to go. Damn, baby. They say you got to go, man. I tried to stick up for you, man. Maybe there's something you could do to change their minds.
Yeah, maybe she could get on her knees and look for it.
Yeah, man. You be creative, man. The clock's ticking, man.
Yeah, I just can't stand these people because they don't rep the U.S. flag. You know?
Right.
They want to stay here so badly, but they don't rep the U.S. flag. They'll rep their country's flag, but not the U.S.
Yeah, man. Disgusting.
Estimate, Steve, this is going to be about maybe 200 or 300 people that we're talking about that are on the streets right now. So at this point, I'm not sure if DPD's plan is to sort of let them do what they're doing for a little while longer, let the crowds disperse on their own. The temperatures are dropping out here, so there is an expectation that perhaps people are just going to get cold and want to go home. But again, that is the situation out here. These folks have taken to the streets. Otherwise, it has been a rather peaceful demonstration and protest all throughout the afternoon. But clearly, Steve, we're keeping a close eye on.
It better be fucking peaceful. You better be fucking peaceful, because you know we getting rid of criminals, man. So
you think any of that is illegal?
Hey, I'm sure, but you know what, man? Is what they said, 1,000 people out here, man. Let's check, man. Out of these 1,000, I'm sure you get about a couple hundred of these illegals, man. Let's see. This is the thing. Y'all talking about all this bullshit. If it was as bad as y'all say it was, you wouldn't be out here fucking protesting.
For real.
And all of this right now to see just how much longer police are going to allow them to take the streets before they sort of escalate this into their next phase of enforcement. Because, again, the message out here was protest, do what you got to do, demonstrate if you have to, but you have to stay off the streets and things have to remain peaceful. So we're keeping a real close eye on this right now. Guys, back to you.
Just to give folks a little bit of bearing there where you are, that essentially where that large crowd is, Ken, right in front of Trinity Groves, heading to the west on Singleton there into that residential area. I know you know this has been the last couple of hours, and what I think a lot of folks understand, we're talking large groups of families. I know there's a lot of young people out there, but
we don't care if they're families. If they can all go back together. Stop trying to tug on our heartstrings with families. You can all go back together.
Yeah, just like Tom Homan said, families could be deported together. I agree.
Yeah, we're not separating the families, man. We'll give you all. We even let you sit on the plane next to each other.
Yeah, we're nice enough to do that. There's other countries like China that would just make them disappear. So
yep,
I hate when people forget that part.
Yeah, exactly. You be in a fucking gulag somewhere.
Yeah, go do that shit in China and protest that you should be allowed to stay. They would disappear. The Uyghurs, the Muslim people who tried that.
Uyghurs, the Uyghurs.
Yeah, Uyghurs. They fucking disappeared or were tortured or just they didn't get the treatment these guys are getting here.
Yeah, they wouldn't break into China either, though.
Hell no.
So is that.
I believe, based on what I've seen here from the footage, a lot of families out there tonight.
Yeah, Steve, there have been a lot of families that have been out here, entire families that have shown up. This is a topic that affects many immigrant families that live in this side of town. So naturally, this was an obvious sort of an event for them to participate in. But again, you know, the crowd's at its peak, north of 1,000 people. Right now, we're down to a few hundred. And I think the hope here is that they start clearing out again soon. If we can we swing over here, because it looks like we have a couple of Dallas police units that are now approaching from the west side. We saw those crowds walking and marching down, but it looks like the police, what they're doing now is sort of closing in that gap, almost as to force them off the road or not allow them to walk back up the way that that they were. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. And again, so sorry about that. We have somebody here who's trying to interrupt our live report here. But anyway, Steve, that's the situation out here. From what I can tell, the majority of the crowd does seem to be dispersing. They seem to be going home. Again, the temperatures are dropping, so I don't anticipate that people are going to stay out here that much longer, and especially with the police now sort of certainly starting to increase their enforcement of the crowds and the crowd control out here, Steve.
Absolutely. Ken Molestina there at the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge as it heads west into West Dallas with that street protest, that street march there on the Dallas side. But we are also watching a similar protest happening in Fort Worth as we speak. A group currently marching down. You can see these images here. This is in the downtown area of Fort Worth.
Man, these people are fucking they think it's still like, they don't understand, like, that shit don't work no more. Nobody cares about your protest. Nobody gives a fuck. Let's see. Oh, it was hold on. What was this? What?
Breaking right now on CBS News Philadelphia, post-game celebrations end with injuries. Police say a vehicle drove into a crowd near Broad and Spring Garden, hitting several people as they were celebrating the Eagles' NFC Championship win. Good Sunday evening. I'm Siafa Lewis. Police say they do have the driver responsible in custody tonight. CBS News Philadelphia's Ray Strickland joins us now from the scene with the very latest. Ray,
Watch
what
out!
else
Watch out!
have you learned?
Shit. I'm trying to tell you, dog. You better watch
What
your back.
else have you learned?
Well, Siafa, I can tell you at this hour, there's still a heavy police presence here at the intersection of Broad and Spring Garden as police officers continue to try to get people to go home. You can see a large number of officers at the corner here at Spring Garden and Broad in front of that CVS, standing at the ready just in case something gets out of control. But what I can tell you about what happened here earlier tonight is that we're hearing possibly over 1,000 people were at this intersection, of course, trying to celebrate that Eagles victory. Witnesses tell me the crowd was in the street blocking the intersection while drivers were also doing donuts there at some point around 9:30 p.m. Police say that's when this car, Mercedes-Benz, drove into the crowd of people. Police are telling us there is confirmation one person was injured, but there may be multiple victims. No face.
Oh, okay. This ain't no big deal, man. Oh well. Slight shit.
That's some asshole shit though. Running a car into a fucking crowd of people celebrating.
Yeah.
Because the Phillies did win. Now they're in the playoffs now.
No, they in the Super Bowl, man.
Oh, Super Bowl, yeah, my bad. But damn, they were just trying to celebrate, and some fucking asshole has to do some shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, they be blocking. It seemed more like a sideshow though than a celebration. Like they was doing the car shit, and that shit is annoying. So fuck them. They fuck the Eagles, man.
ICE agents respond tonight, targeted immigration enforcement.
Not tonight, man. I might root for them against Kansas City, but I don't like them tonight. They beat my skins, man.
Oh, really?
We fumbled the ball all over the fucking stadium, man. We weren't tight tonight, man. We fucked it up, man. But then I ain't gonna make the show about that. Fuck it.
Also here tonight, targeted immigration enforcement operations held today as part of President Trump's campaign promise.
ICE says it made 956 immigration arrests today alone. That's a significant increase over previous days. Enforcement operations were reported from Denver to Chicago. And as Derek Waller reports, ICE agents were spotted in New Jersey this weekend as well.
And here across the Hudson, ICE agents have been spotted this weekend in two predominantly Hispanic communities, West New York and Union City.
We clearly see a bunch of ICE agents doing an undercover operation.
ICE agents near the corner of New York Avenue and 18th Street in Union City Sunday. No word on if anyone was detained, but it certainly alarmed neighbors.
They see it in the news, but they don't really think that it actually happened, here.
In West New York Saturday, more agents near Harrison Place and 61st Street. One man arrested, the mayor's office confirms. It's unclear if it's related to President Trump's executive order. But on Sunday, ICE did reveal enhanced targeted operations now underway in Chicago, part of multi-agency immigration operations happening nationwide, including in Miami, Houston, Atlanta, Phoenix, and LA. President Trump's border czar Tom Homan says agents are focused on finding people accused of committing crimes, but admits there's also been what he calls collateral arrests.
There are collateral arrests. Where the collateral arrests happen? Sanctuary cities.
Vice President J.D. Vance on Face the Nation defended allowing ICE agents into churches, hospitals, and schools.
If you had a violent murder in a school, of course I want law enforcement to go and get that person out.
For real. That bitch is so disrespectful.
I hate every woman in the media. I hate all of them. They all suck.
They're all disrespectful.
They're all openly biased, and they flaunt their disrespect. Like they're not even like subtle about it. They're like openly disrespectful.
Yeah, because imagine a man was disrespectful to a woman, they would be saying he's a misogynist, he's this or that.
Yep.
So what's the point of the question?
You changed the regulation this week. That's the point of the question.
Exactly.
Giving the authority.
Trying to get smart. Fuck you.
See what I mean? Rude ass bitch. You heard that? Rude ass bitch.
Yeah.
Of course.
So what's the point of the question?
You changed the regulation this week. That's the point of the question.
Exactly.
Giving the authority to go into churches and go into schools.
We empowered law enforcement to enforce the law.
We're also learning more about the ICE arrest at the Ocean Seafood Depot in Newark last week. Sources telling CBS News New York agents detained 3 undocumented aliens. 2 of them have a court date and bond set. A third accused of overstaying.
Man, they starting to call these motherfuckers aliens, man. We ain't did that since the 90s, man. They bringing back the old terminology. Damn.
They're
It's
fucking
cracking.
invaders.
Yeah, it's cracking out here, man. We bringing back the old. Shout out to Big Larry, man. Big Larry in the building. Salute to my man, John Hancock, man. John Hancock in the building. What's going on, man? What's up? What's up, Mystic Philly, man? I know you happy, man. I know you happy y'all won. Mystic Philly and shit, man.
Damn right. I told you it was going to happen, bro.
Yeah, man. Want me to tell you what's going to happen in 2 weeks? You don't want to know what's going to happen in 2 weeks. In New Orleans.
We're going to win the Super Bowl.
You're right.
Let me know so I can place a bet.
Just put your money on Patrick Mahomes. They're gonna score 1 more point than Philly. Whatever Philly score, they're gonna score 1 more point. Philly ain't got a shot in hell of beating Kansas City. Not a shot in hell. And they might play well. Philly might play well, and they still gonna lose.
But why? Why do you say they don't stand a chance?
Patrick Mahomes, he just know how to win. Like they always know how to. They know how to win, man. Buffalo played very good tonight, and they lost. Because Patrick Mahomes just knows how to win.
Saying a visa was placed into removal proceedings. In Weehawken, New Jersey, Derek Waller, CBS News, New York.
And we have some breaking news tonight. The U.S. will no longer impose tariffs against Colombia now that that country has agreed to accept deported migrants. The news comes after President Trump originally threatened to issue a 25% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S., as well as visa restrictions for Colombian officials. The president of Colombia had blocked 2 U.S. military flights full of migrants from landing there. And we will.
Yeah, you little fucking Indian, man. Listen, man. Your country, like we could, one of our states could take y'all out, man.
For real.
We could send fucking Connecticut, man, to take y'all out, man. Y'all got a lot of coke, don't get me wrong, but other than that, man, like y'all ain't shit, man. With a bunch of fucking mountains and a bunch of fucking Indians.
Yep.
Fuck y'all, man. Act right, man, or get smacked right.
More reports today of immigration officers seen in at least 2 communities in New Jersey. This as the fear grows among residents. Our Grace Gomez is in the studio with me with more on this. Grace.
Good evening, Kaidi. Federal agents were seen in both Patterson and Union City earlier today. We spoke to witnesses who saw the exact moment the agents arrived to their neighborhoods. Immigration agents were seen around 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon in Patterson, New Jersey. Mariano Gonzalez was making a delivery at Madison and 21st Avenues when 2 unmarked vehicles parked right next to him.
A couple of the officers, they had like the police badge on their like Velcro vest. And then there was like 2 other guys that did have like the jacket on that said ICE on them.
He says he spotted between 7 and 8 agents. Some of the officers went through a building side door and the rest remained outside, surveilling the area.
With full gear, and they were all armed. You could see their guns on their sides.
He adds that area of Patterson is busy, especially on Sundays. But shortly after the agents arrived, it cleared out. Something similar happened in Union City. This eyewitness, who spoke to us under condition of anonymity, says agents arrived at this building located in the area of 18th Street and Union Avenue.
They tried to go inside the building. They're looking for somebody specific.
He adds the agents were unable to get in and proceeded to walk across the street.
Then they go inside the building over there. They go in too, but I think they're nothing, so they go now again
and they walking around the street, but I don't see nobody else.
The eyewitness added he didn't see the agents arresting anyone, but did say he spotted them walking around the neighborhood, surveilling the area.
We scared, so we don't know if they can take any people or just specific people.
Meanwhile, Mariano Gonzalez, who is an American citizen, says he is especially cautious after hearing the Newark incident where ICE agents arrested a Puerto Rican U.S. Army veteran, adding he didn't.
Fuck you, trying to make it seem like that's what happens. Like every American got to worry about it. Nope, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. They asked him for his ID, detained him for a second, figured out who he was, and let his ass go. Y'all trying to make this one fucking incident. You can tell they don't have no other incidents because this is the one incident that all the channels, all the news stations are talking about. This Army veteran that got detained for a moment. Out of thousands of arrests, you have one dude that got detained for a few moments. I don't care, man. And if you want to make an omelet, you got to crack some fucking eggs.
Remember, Wicked was making an issue about this last night, right?
Yeah. This ain't deterring me. See, this is how Democrats think. One fucking half ape career criminal fucking son turd gets beat up by a cop, so you got to fucking defund the police. No, man. We don't do the stupid shit like that. That's how fucking morons think. Exactly. Okay? This fucking guy, I don't give a fuck if hundreds of people get detained momentarily. I don't give a fuck if they come to me and ask me for my fucking ID. I'm going to pull out my ID and give it to them. And then be on my fucking way.
They don't want to take a chance and rushed immediately.
I just wanted to say real quick. It's just like one doctor fucks up with one patient. Now we gotta
give her the hospital.
Fire all doctors. Yeah, close the hospital. Like, well,
close
no.
every hospital everywhere.
Yeah, fucking stupid.
Immediately out of Patterson.
Now it's just not even a worry of like I already have papers. It's more of like I just fit the description.
And ICE posted an update tonight on their nationwide operations. Just today, 956 arrests were made, the highest number we've seen of daily arrests since January 23rd, when these type of operations started. And of course, we'll hear more.
950 arrests today. Okay, that's cool. We're on our way to 1 million, man. Let's keep it going.
More from Patterson Mayor Andres Sayed. Tomorrow, he'll be joining Hazel Sanchez and Justin Finch right here on the Pix 11 Morning News. Katie, back.
And thanks for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Ron Jones. That is our top story tonight. We're watching major crackdowns on immigration enforcement all across the country, including right here in Metro Atlanta. And tonight, the DEA says that they've made several arrests in cities like Atlanta, Cartersville, and Savannah. Check out this video. This is from MG News. This is cell phone video. It shows DEA agents outside of a house in Lilburn where they arrested a man from Honduras. And we're learning that agents are focusing on people who are wearing immigration GPS monitors. Now, these devices are used to track down immigrants who are either waiting for their immigration cases to be decided or have been flagged as possible public safety risks. The family says they opened up the door after agents showed them a picture of him because they were scared it was an arrest order, but it really wasn't.
Well, the fuck, who gives a fuck? I don't even care what you say, man.
Well, the man's family said,
I ain't even reading that shit, man. I ain't even reading them subtitles. Nobody give a fuck what you talking
as the
about.
agents came in, checked his GPS monitor, and then
turn him over, or you going to. Like, seriously, like, turn him over, or you're going to. The end. You were allowed to stay. We can tell you probably they probably being nice. I don't mind them being nice, letting this lady stay if she turned the guy over. But in the next wave, after we get the criminals, we'll come back and we're going to get the people that are just here illegally. So you need to get your stuff together. You got a little bit of time, lady. Get your stuff together. Either leave, self-deport, or get whatever papers and shit you need to get together to prove that you're here illegally. But you've been granted grace. You've been given grace.
Yeah, because she basically harbored a fugitive,
Exactly.
and that's a serious crime.
Well, the man's family says the agents came in, checked his GPS monitor, and then took him away. We're also learning about Wilson Rogelio Velasquez Cruz. He was arrested at a church in Tucker. His family says he's from Honduras, came to the country in 2022 with his wife and 3 kids on a work permit pending asylum. We're told the permit was valid for 4 more years. The only time he was arrested was at the border with his family, and that's when ICE put the GPS monitor on him. 11 Alive's Teresa Bowles is here speaking with a criminal defense attorney and Latino community advocate. And Teresa, what is he saying about all of this?
Ron, he says undocumented immigrants should basically go into hiding for the next 4 years. He even says avoid driving unless absolutely necessary. It's just not worth it.
Less fucking drunk fucking Indians on the fucking road. That sounds like a good idea, man.
Yeah, great move. Let's have more car accidents and people having hit and run and all that bullshit.
Wrong way and shit, driving on the wrong way and shit. Yeah, man, that's a good idea. Thank you, lawyer. But I would tell him just leave, man. Fuck all the hiding, just leave.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Hey, I saw a story about the Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. They got together and were praying that they don't get deported and all that bullshit. I'm thinking, I hope to get deported for the cats and the dogs' sake, so they could breathe easy, you know?
Yeah. Why don't they pray? But why don't they pray? Why don't they pray that their country becomes functional and a first world? Like, why do they pray for stupid shit? Like, if
because they're dumb.
prayers work.
I'm around it. I'm Haitian, so it's just they don't know how to build. They just don't know.
Yeah, that's obvious. That's pretty obvious by now, man.
Hey, I don't mean to insult you, homie. You're Haitian, but I'm not. I don't mean to insult you. I'm just saying.
No. I understand. I don't want them here either. They came here illegally. Stay the fuck over there.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If you left your country because of the dysfunction or the crime, or just the your country's inability to provide you with the opportunities that you could have had, and then you see a bunch of people from that country coming following you over here, that's a nightmare, man. That's like a fuck. Like where I live at, if a bunch of dudes from DC moved here, man, I'm out, man. I don't want a bunch of dudes in DC live around me, man.
Hell yeah,
I didn't even leave. I didn't even leave to get away from them. But what I'm saying is, just if a bunch of dudes, chicken heads and baby mamas from DC started coming up here, I'd be like, oh man, y'all can have this shit. I gotta find another white community to invade, man. To go be the good black neighbor in, man.
How are those DC dudes like?
They disrespectful. DC guys are they're disrespectful, and they troublemakers. But that's not all of them. But that's the ones that's like that try to be like kind of like the trope of DC. That's like the trope. The you know what I'm saying, the caricature of DC. Disrespectful and troublemakers. But everybody's not like that. But they're 1 degree of separation away from that person. They're not like 6 degrees of separation. They're 1.
They're right there.
Rests on the airport tarmac. The DEA says teams have been helping Homeland Security with these enforcement efforts around Metro Atlanta. Attorney Surinder Shada Jimenez tells me what's likely happening is people with pending immigration cases being arrested, even those who are being released with ankle monitors. He believes authorities could be tracking people through these monitors, making it easier to find them. This is forcing many undocumented immigrants into hiding, and if they're arrested, he says it's much harder to fight their case while in custody. Here's his advice to anyone in this situation.
If you have an ankle monitor, if you have a pending immigration case, the best thing you can do is make sure you contact your attorney, your immigration attorney. If you don't have one, hire one immediately and do not cut it off. Because if you had a path to a legal status, by cutting it off, you're violating the terms of your release And whatever you might have gotten, it's going to be off the table.
Jimenez also warned.
Salute to Andy Armour, man. Andy Armour in the building, man. Shout out to you, bro. He says, I don't care if Jesus himself was illegal. We gotta go. Yo, that's crazy, man. That's crazy, man. Go turn water into wine somewhere else, man.
Yeah.
That's ours. Damn.
Yeah. Wow, man. That's crazy.
Warns people not to fall for scams. If authorities are looking for you, they're not going to call and ask for money or ask you to meet them somewhere. Ron?
So thanks a lot for the update there. By the way, folks, the FBI says that it is helping Homeland Security with these enforcement.
Shit. Go heal the sick somewhere else, huh? Yeah, man. Oh wow. They everywhere, man. Look.
We start with exclusive breaking news you're only going to see this morning on Denver 7. Federal agents raided a party being hosted by Tren de Aragua early this morning along Federal Boulevard.
Over
It was a
4
cocaine
dozen
party.
people have been detained, and our investigative
Definitely.
reporter, Tony Kovaleski, started getting some tips to him late last night, got up really early this morning, and headed straight there. Tony, thank you so much for being with us. You're coming straight from that scene. Can you break down exactly what you're hearing from those in charge?
Well, here's what we were told and what we learned, and actually a long-term operation that culminated last night, started about 9 o'clock. Arrests started happening about 3 in the morning. We got there a little bit after 5 and show you pictures now. This was North Federal Boulevard, 6600 block. You can see federal agents, DEA agents, also supported by Adams County Sheriff. That's a federal bus where the detention took place, and that's where the detainees are walked in right now. You can see some of them. We're told by the DEA many were members of Tren de Aragua, the Venezuelan gang. About 50 people detained and being processed right now. They were taken out in that bus after a long-term operation. Again, the 6600 block of North Federal. It started happening about 9 last night. According to the special agent in charge, this was an invitation-only party for TDA.
Okay.
They were there partying inside. They did say that they found drugs inside, cocaine, and a new street drug that's out there. No word yet of any fentanyl or amounts of money, but this is an operation that we're told the DEA has been watching closely for several weeks. They moved in last night. The arrest happened, as we said, at 3 in the morning. They continued processing that bus, pulling out a little bit after 6. You can see it's a pre-dawn hour. We counted more than 4 dozen people on that bus as they pulled away. ICE was involved. This was a multi-federal operation, and they are now processing, looking at backgrounds of all of the individuals and making decisions on what is next.
Yes, and we know that President Donald Trump recently sworn into office, and he said that he's going to be very aggressive when it comes down to immigrants who are in this country, especially immigrants who are doing quote unquote bad things. Do we know if any way if this is connected to his most recent executive orders that he's been issuing with that aggressive push to get immigrants out of our country?
I asked that specific question one day to the special agent in charge, and he said, we do know there's a new administration. We've been given new marching orders. TDA has been on their map for a long time. And the concerns have been raised by the DEA. They were aware of what was happening last night. Obviously, when you have an invitation-only event and all these TDA gang members there, according to the special agent in charge, it's an opportunity, and that's what they took. They moved in early this morning, and now they're in the process of figuring out everything they have. What are the records of those individuals? Do they belong in our country? Are they citizens? Are they non-citizens? And how they go. But it's very fluid right now. What we do know, 50 people detained in an operation that started at 9 o'clock last night, wrapped up a little bit after 6 this morning.
Yeah, we know that the Laken-Ryland Act has not been signed into law just yet, but when it does, if these illegal immigrants are detained and they are convicted of heinous crimes or even accused, it's going to be a lot easier for states and also the federal government to deport them.
Well, remember, what you're hearing from ICE sources, not only here in Colorado, but throughout the country, is they are trying to pick up the worst of the worst, the bad criminals, the bad actors that they don't want in the country. And if this is part of that, we'll know more later today. But certainly this is an operation that DEA told us they've been keeping eyes on for several weeks and maybe months. And last night was their opportunity to move in.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Tony, for your reporting. We understand you're going to be with us throughout the show this morning. You'll have a little bit more during our next half hour.
At 9:30, we're going to hear from DEA special agent in charge. He was there this morning. He's going to describe what they did and talk about your specific question. Is this related to the operations that are taking place nationwide, sparked by what President Trump has said he wants to do? And we're hearing more could be happening later this week, but this could be the first of that whole process here in Colorado.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, Tony, we thank you so much. Chief investigative reporter here at Denver 7, breaking news exclusively here on Denver 7 News this morning.
A months-long investigation led.
They are
Again, thanks for joining.
They are cleaning house, man. Shit. I love it.
They should be.
Yeah, get these motherfuckers. Okay, here we go. Look, hold on, no, that's this is just.
It's sad because they're trying to smear him.
Yeah, not well. The country's on board. 83% of Americans are with this shit. 83% say that they're in favor of this shit. So whatever, man. These when these media members try to smear him, it looks like they're rooting against America, and that's what I like, because it's like everyone is with this shit. Everyone wants these people gone, and you're on the news like trying to and you're against it. You're just a big ass. So I can't wait to see The View. See what they talk about tomorrow.
Trump's promised crackdown on immigration. Hundreds of National Guard and military troops are deployed to the southern border, but thousands more have been ordered to the U.S.-Mexico border. Now, the White House has also started the first deportation flights of the Trump administration. The White House press secretary shared images last night of migrants lined up, handcuffed, and boarding a military aircraft.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement says it made 593 arrests on Friday, 538 on Thursday. Those numbers are likely to rise. The source tells CNN that federal immigration removal operations could target more than 24 cities earlier this week. And President Trump signed an executive order suspending refugee admissions to the U.S. And last night, the White House went a step further, abruptly halting all services for refugees who are already here, including Afghans who aided.
God, dog. That's how you play, man. You don't fucking give them fucking debit cards while you're chasing them, and fucking welfare and goddamn shelter while you're fucking hunting them down.
Food stamps and all this shit.
You force them out of their little rat holes. You starve them out. Starve them out of their little rat holes. This is how you do it, man.
Yo, I have family in New York City.
Let's bring it now, Doris Meisner.
Just real quick, I got family in New York City. We're on Britos, right? And they don't like the illegals because they're fucking disrespectful as fuck. They talk to you like you owe them something. They make a mess everywhere. They're fucking violent as fuck. And mind you, my people came here legally. So it makes them even angrier because my family had to wait like 10 years before they could get cleared.
Yep, just like my mom. And I struck the louder. So.
And now these assholes are running around. It also pisses my aunts off a lot that they fucking gotta struggle to meet the bills at the end of the month for like food. And these assholes are getting like what, $5K and a debit card, some shit like that. Like,
yeah, and they're assholes too. That's the thing about it. You're getting all that, and you're not like gracious or
not at all.
You're an asshole. So it's like it makes it even worse.
Hell yeah, they're super ungrateful.
Unbelievable, man.
All services for refugees who are already here, including Afghans who aided the U.S. during the war. Let's bring it now, Doris Meisner. She is a senior fellow at the Migration Policy Institute and a former commissioner with the U.S. Immigration and
White woman, short hair. She probably had blue hair back in the day.
Yep.
Naturalization Service under President Clinton. Doris, thank you for being with me. I want to start here with your reaction to that ending advocate groups support of refugees already in the country. Anything from helping them find jobs, helping them find housing, even teaching them how to use the
Why give them a job? That's fucked up. Hey, man, have this job. By the way, you leaving tomorrow, man. Like, why you playing with them like that? It's just, and then he gets a job and he goes on the work site and the whole work site gets busted because they're looking for him. And a bunch of people who weren't criminals, they get busted too, collateral.
Yep, that's true. That is true.
Like, why is this woman? This woman is a traitor. She's a traitor of her country. She'd be treated like someone who was a traitor in war. She's a traitor to her country. She's older, but she should be punished in some way.
Yeah, you get executed for being a traitor.
The greater implications.
Well, the greater implications are that we have a long history as a country of welcoming and accepting refugees, and our experience with that is that refugees do very well in the United States. They become Americans quickly. They contribute to the economy. They pay taxes. And so the initial help that they get to get established is and have a foothold is very important to their future success. This action is very short-sighted because it in fact makes it far more difficult for what has been.
That's them. But you know what, ma'am? You know who also does well in America? Americans. And we could use whatever, if you give these fucking refugees a nickel, whatever you call them, and there's an American somewhere that could use that fucking nickel.
An extremely successful program and effort over many, many years that the United States has in providing protection to people that are in deep need. They actually help us much more than we help them, but it's an even street.
Yeah. I'm going to be...
My man,
what?
Baila con Latina said, he says, Wicked not coming on tonight. Let's pray for Wicked, man. Let's hope Wicked is all right, man. Let's hope Wicked is safe tonight, man.
Speaking with Newark, New Jersey Mayor Ras Baraka next hour about an ICE raid.
Fuck you and Ras Baraka, man.
And I work around that area where they did the raid.
Yeah, man. They gotta get those motherfuckers. Look at this, Cleveland.
Continues now. Now at 5:30, it was one of his biggest promises on the campaign trail and one of his first actions on the job.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted.
Tonight, we're digging into President Donald Trump's executive actions on immigration.
With one signature, thousands of refugees hoping to start a new life in the U.S. learned their travel plans were canceled.
It would hoping to start a new life in the U.S.
Get the fuck out of here.
This is crazy.
They were hoping to
looking for a handout. That's what they were looking for.
Exactly. Hoping to start a new life.
Fuck out of here.
Be an attempt to transform immigration enforcement into a military operation.
And hundreds of active duty military were set to help secure the border, leaving some asking, can they do that?
It should be local government, state government, working with the federal government about whether or not we have the capacity to assimilate a certain amount of refugees into the community.
We take an in-depth look at what exactly the president has the power to do to secure the border, what role the military can play, and how the ripple effect of this executive order is reaching all the way here to Northeast Ohio.
And President Trump signed those orders within hours of taking office.
But tonight, one of them, ending the constitutional guarantee of birthright citizenship, is on hold. That's because a federal judge granted a temporary restraining order, calling it unconstitutional.
Meantime, other orders are being enacted, including one that halted refugee flights into the U.S. News 5's Nadine Abusada is following through with the impact that's having here in Northeast Ohio.
I mean, I feel very, very worried and disappointed.
Valley Aria was preparing to welcome his brother into Cleveland within just a few weeks.
They had been scheduled to arrive in the U.S. on the 19th of February.
But Monday, That flight got canceled after President Donald Trump halted all refugee admissions programs.
So this is really very distressing and very worrying.
Valley and his brother are from Afghanistan.
No, we're not taking any of you inbred
Hell no.
freaks over here. All you
Yeah,
baka bars, that shit they be doing over there. They trying to bring all that baka bar shit over here. Nah, man, we not bringing
yeah,
that.
they be fucking little boys and all that. Hell no, stay the fuck
That's
over
part
there.
of the culture, though. That's not even like taboo. It's not like over here where people do it, but it's like
it's a
they're
crime.
like that's woven into the mainstream of their culture.
Yeah, that's true. Hell no, keep
That's
that freaky shit over there. The fuck way over there.
they only sleep with women to have babies.
Yeah, that's it.
Like booty.
Yeah, they're a booty loving culture. It's like in the Constitution. Booty is in the Constitution, man.
Yeah,
Love.
they're fucking sick individuals, yo.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even say that. You know what? That's their culture. That's how they've operated for eons. Allow them to do that. But over there.
You know, when my cousin was in Afghanistan, he would see shit like that, and he would try and break it up, and the lieutenant would tell him like, "Nah, we can't interfere. That's their culture." But one day, my cousin was walking around like doing patrol in a village, and he saw this guy like holding down this kid, and this kid is screaming for help because my cousin knows he learned the language. He was screaming for help, and my cousin pulled out his pistol and shot him in the head, and told the kid, "Yo, get the fuck out of here. I was never here." And then when they found the guy, he saved him from taking it. He saved the kid from getting raped. When they found the guy, they asked around, and nobody would report my cousin. Everybody just like, nah, we didn't see nothing. Some other soldiers saw my cousin do it, and they were just like, nah, we didn't see nothing. We didn't see Sarge do nothing. Because they would give you a report for that.
Right. Yeah, you can't do that. But yeah, I agree, man. Like that shit is their culture. Like that shit is so mainstream that when they over here, they gotta want to do. You can't just come over here and turn that off. They're gonna keep doing that shit over here. I don't believe that you can just be doing that and then just stop like off on cold turkey.
Yeah, sure, because it's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's their culture. That's what they do. They don't like your man just said. It's not like a hidden thing. It's just what they do. And like he want to bring his brother over here. No, thank you.
Where they helped the U.S. during the war. Valley got his green card while his brother has been waiting for 3 years in Pakistan to be resettled in the U.S.
That's really a matter of life and death for people like my brother, who is known to the Taliban, and we are known to the Taliban. I was in the media as an analyst all the time, talking in support of the presence of United States forces in Afghanistan.
We have to take care of America first. And we appreciate everyone that cooperates with us in our endeavors overseas.
Ohio Representative Josh Williams believes the suspension of resettlement programs was necessary, saying the influx of refugees has placed a strain on communities.
That's part of the concern moving forward about this program, is whether or not it's going to cause continued discomfort when it comes to the number of refugees coming into a community.
So what does that pause look like?
The pause means there's nobody new arriving.
For more than 100 years, the U.S. Committee for Immigrants and Refugees has provided a safe haven here in Cleveland and across the nation for those fleeing from war and persecution. But now that's been halted.
They'll be left to wait, and we don't know how long. I mean, we're told 4 months. It could be 4 years.
Darren Ham, USCRI Senior Director of Field Offices, says the halt has brought lots of fear and uncertainty among the refugee and immigrant community. But it won't stop them from doing the work they know.
We'll continue to serve those who are already here.
As for Valley,
but this is ridiculous.
He fears of what the future holds as he's sending $1,000 a month to renew his brother's Pakistani visa. But he hopes the government will honor the promise he was given.
People who have been working with the United States have been risking everything to stand with the United States in Afghanistan. And if the promise to bring them to a safe place is broken, I mean, that also damages the very idea, the very concept of greatness that President Trump is seeking.
As USCRI waits to see if the presidential administration will
So
reinstate
that shit you just talked about, America. When we send your ass back to the Taliban, get on TV in Afghanistan and talk that shit about the Taliban. I dare you. I fucking dare you. Tell the Taliban, go back to Afghanistan. When we send you back to Afghanistan, go tell them, get on TV and tell them how disappointed you are in them. See how that fucking works out for you.
The very concept of greatness that President Trump is seeking.
As USCRI waits to see if the presidential administration will reinstate them in the next 4 months, they're going to continue to do the work that they can with the refugees that are already here for as long as their budget allows, which is unclear. Reporting in Cleveland, Idina Busada, News 5.
More U.S. troops are going to the southwest border as part of President Donald Trump's effort to stop unauthorized immigration.
Truth Be Told by Scripps News looks at how the military's been deployed at the border over the years and how this time might be different. Patrick Terpstra reports from Washington.
The Pentagon announced it's sending 1,500 active duty troops to the U.S.-Mexico border, days after President Trump ordered a stronger military response to what he calls an invasion of undocumented immigrants.
As Commander-in-Chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do.
The Defense Department says the troops will join 2,500 active duty personnel already at the border and will assist in the construction of more physical barriers, also providing deportation flights for more than 5,000 undocumented immigrants. Index! Deploying the military to the border in limited support roles isn't new. Presidents George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden all called up troops to assist immigration authorities. Governors have also sent state National Guard members. What's different is Trump's idea to possibly use active duty troops to enforce immigration laws. Trump has given U.S. Northern Command, which assigns military missions in the U.S., 10 days to draw up a campaign to seal the border and stop unlawful mass migration.
It would be an attempt to transform immigration enforcement into a military operation. Something like this, I think, would generate tremendous opposition and resistance.
A law from the 1800s prohibits.
That's the problem, woman. You don't have your ear to the street. It wouldn't.
Not at
People
all.
want this shit. You fucking harlot. Just because
And
you
that-
voted for Kamala doesn't mean that everybody's with this shit.
You know, fucking Ronald Reagan did the same thing, and nobody was against him.
Yeah, man. These people don't have the ear to the street. People are cool with this shit.
Hell yeah, especially the people at
A
Springfield,
military
Ohio.
operation. Something like this, I think, would generate tremendous opposition and resistance.
A law from the 1800s prohibits U.S. troops from engaging in civilian law enforcement, but Trump says he may invoke the Insurrection Act that gives the commander-in-chief power to use military forces on U.S. soil in extreme cases. Patrick Terpstra, Scripps News, Washington.
The number of unauthorized crossings at the border was down in the past year under President Joe Biden, similar to when President Trump was in office.
Wow.
Down,
Where's
they
this?
lying.
Yeah, where's this? Oh, that's New York State. Yeah, man. The fuck they think this is? They think that they thought it's gonna last forever. My thing is, they got away with it for so long, man.
Yep.
That
4 years. Or longer than that. Longer than that, problem.
Exactly. Now it's over. Like the party's over. Like real talk, man. It's 3:00. The club is closing, man.
Yep.
But man, I still want to have fun. I still want to max some bitches. Yeah. Sorry, man. The club's closed.
Yeah. You gotta leave the club. That's it. I've been there. You gotta leave. It's 3. Okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
Listen, it's certain. Today I didn't even work, and the bar was empty. So this shit is working.
Oh yeah, you work at the Burrito bar.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You gotta go, man.
Yeah, for real.
Sorry. And listen, man, it's nothing personal at all, man. Um, it's like this. It is. Think about how we're required to follow the law as Americans. Like,
Yep.
I literally can't, like, I can't buy a fucking fifth of Hennessy unless I have my license. If I get to the counter, and let's just say it was a few years ago when I could have passed for a young man, and they asked me for my ID, and I don't have my ID, I cannot buy that fucking bottle of liquor.
Exactly.
I have to fucking go home and get my fucking ID, or try to get somebody else to buy it for me. But you can come into the fucking country without showing no fucking ID. And are you kidding? Listen, man.
Facts.
Party's over, man.
With
Yo,
$500. With
Yeah.
$500.
and they talk about that all immigrants aren't criminal. The fact that they came here illegally, they're already criminal. That's already
And
breaking a law.
that's the common sense I don't get, that they don't understand. That's why they're
Yeah.
fighting it.
They make it seem like it's not illegal to break into the country, that it doesn't make them criminals. They're already criminals by hopping a wall or whatever the fuck they do to come in here
And
illegally.
and this is their best debunk. Oh, this country was founded, or stolen.
On
It was
immigrants.
stolen. I'm like, oh my God.
Uh,
I'm like,
no, it was conquered.
Everybody. Yeah,
It,
everybody stole their land. Nigeria, the niggas over there in Nigeria, they wasn't the niggas that was there a thousand years ago, 500 years ago. They conquered some other tribe.
yeah, it's conquered. It happens.
Yeah, it happens all over the world, man. People,
Exactly.
big bank take little bank, man.
No,
It's
that's
the
facts.
law of the land. Um, yeah, this is.
In Dominican Republic, they got a statue of Christopher Columbus in the capital.
Yeah, I mean, he was brutal. He was brutal, but he brought. We wouldn't have. He set in motion all the shit we got today.
Yep.
He set in motion all that shit. Like without that, none of this stuff is possible. Um, and to act like they always act like people of color was all great and shit. Nah, them motherfuckers were savages too. They were savages just like fucking Christopher Columbus was.
Hmm.
Just like his ass.
Probably even worse because they
Salute
did human
man.
sacrifices and all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Salute to my man Caleb West, man. He says it's mind-boggling. How can anyone support this? I fully believe the Dems are using them for votes. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Salute to
hell
you,
yeah.
Caleb West, man. Shout out to you. They're definitely using them for boats. They definitely using them for cheap labor. They
Yep.
definitely using them to virtue signal to be like how good of a person they are. Like we're good people. We believe in this and that, man. Fuck y'all. Um they not reading the room, man. The room, the people are saying, man, no, this shit is bullshit. We ready to move on from this shit. We're America is moving in a different direction. And Trump, he's starting day one is letting you know that he knows what the people want, because he's not like he's not like slow walking it, like trying to check
Yeah.
the temperature of the room. He already know the
Yep.
temperature of the room.
Yep. He
They
already
vote.
knows.
Yeah, he ran on a radical platform and people voted for him. So he's like, all right, that's a mandate.
He knows that the people hate all these illegals getting free shit. In New York City, my family tells me they get free hotels, They get like $5K a month in a prepaid card. They're able to afford a fucking $100,000 Lexus, while my family has to take the bus or the train because they don't got money like that. And these fucking assholes get all this money for free. It's bullshit, 100%. And they're dangerous. They be walking around with machetes and shit like that. Like, they're dangerous ass people. Like, they're not people you want to be around. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hell nah. The third world gangbangers, gangbangers that never been to the dentist, don't got their shots.
Well, Margaret, I don't agree that all these immigrants or all these refugees have been properly vetted. In fact, we know that there are cases of people who allegedly were properly vetted and then were literally planning terrorist attacks on our country. That happened during the campaign, if you may remember. So clearly not all of these foreign nationals
but there are
have been properly
30,000
vetted.
people in the pipeline, Afghan refugees.
But my primary
Do you stand by
concern
it?
as the vice president, Margaret, is to look after the American people. And now that
So
we
no.
know that we have vetting problems with a lot of these refugee programs, we absolutely cannot unleash thousands of unvetted people into our country.
These people
it's
are
not
vetted.
good.
These people are vetted.
Just like the guy who planned a terrorist attack in Oklahoma a few months ago, he was
Tell
allegedly
him.
properly.
Listen, ain't nobody from fucking Afghanistan vetted. Oh, I nice guy. Oh, I know, I nice guy. I love America. LeBron James, yes. Oh, yes, give me credit card now. Oh, no credit card yet? More question? Okay, more question. What is your question? Oh, yes. I love no terror. Me terror? What is terror? I have never heard of the word. Like, and then, oh, you're vetted. Some dumb bitch with fucking thick ass frames on her glasses and the fucking nose rings. Like, all right, you're vetted. Boop, go on. Like, no, fuck no. None of y'all is vetted. You fucking
yo,
crazy?
and this bitch is so rude too. The interviewer, she's so fucking rude. I can't stand her.
properly vetted. And many people in the media and the Democratic Party said that he was properly vetted. Clearly he
Yeah.
wasn't. I don't want my children to share a neighborhood with people who are not properly vetted. And because I don't want it for my kids, I'm not going to force any other American citizens' kids to do that either.
No, and that was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't really
But
care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country. And I think most Americans agree with me.
We'll be back in 1 minute.
Let me see if I can find that whole interview, man.
That bitch is so rude.
Man, he got
all
next,
of them
man.
are rude.
Yep, all of them.
All the bitches on TV is rude. All of them. It's so crazy, man.
And Muslims, they can't assimilate in this country because their religion says that if you don't
Yeah,
agree with their religion, you're an infidel, that you gotta be killed, all this shit.
They're Muslim first.
Yeah,
They're always Muslim first. They'll never be Americans, man. They're always
exactly.
Muslims. Yeah, man. And at any time, like if anything's happening in another part of the world, them motherfuckers might blow some shit up here. Like they just they that's their that's kind of like, you know how black people always marching and protesting. They blow shit up. That's their marching and protesting to blow something up.
Yeah, they're fucking. They're no good. They can't assimilate. Look at Germany. They let in all those fucking sand squirrels. That shit didn't work out. That shit didn't work out at all. There was people celebrating Christmas and they fucking some asshole ran a car into like a crowd of them just for celebrating Christmas.
Well, a son did that over here, Daryl Brooks. So I mean, like, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but you know the thing that happened in Germany, right?
If the nominee can't
Yeah,
unite
yeah.
your party, how's he going to lead 3 million people?
Well, look, I think Pete is a disruptor, and a lot of people don't like that disruption. But Margaret, that disruption is incredibly necessary. If you think about all of those bipartisan massive votes, we have to ask ourselves, what did they get us? They got us a country where we fought many wars over the last 40 years, but haven't won a war. about as long as I've been alive. They've got us a military with a major recruitment crisis, a procurement price crisis that's totally dysfunctional, where we buy airplanes for billions and billions of dollars, terrible cost overruns, the delivery dates are always delayed. So we need a big change. Now, admittedly, there are people who don't like that big change, but it is necessary, and it's explicitly what Donald J. Trump ran on. And I think part of the reason why the American people elected him their 47th president.
So the main objective is changing all of that, that it's going to be Pete Hegseth alone?
I'd say the main problem the main thing that we want Pete Hegseth to do is to fix the problems at the Department of Defense. And unfortunately, there are many. We've gotten into way too many wars that we don't have a plan for winning. We've gotten into way too many misadventures that we shouldn't have gotten into.
Just the fact that the vice president is having an unscripted interview with hostile media. No vice president. Biden never went on Fox. Kamala never went on Fox. I don't know if Al Gore went on Fox, but they don't go on Fox. They don't go on the hostile territory and answer unscripted questions. This dude is in his first week as vice president, and he's on a very hostile with this hostile winch. He's taking fucking pointed questions from this hostile winch, and he's just going with it, and it's unedited. It's just off the cuff. In his first week as vice president.
Yeah, he's holding his own.
In the very first place. And our procurement process, Margaret, is incredibly broken. We're in an era.
Decisions.
Well, of course, they're policy decisions, but they're also logistical and implementation decisions. If you look at where we are with the rise of artificial intelligence, with the rise of drone technology and drone warfare, we have to really top to bottom change the way that we fund the procurement of weapons, the way that we arm our troops. This is a major period of disruption, and we think Pete Hegseth is the guy to lead the job. Now, there's another element to this, Margaret, too, which is we believe that military morale, at least until the election of President Trump, was historically low. You had the Army missing recruitment goals by tens of thousands of soldiers, and already recruitment is starting to pick up because Pete Hegseth is fundamentally a warfighter's leader at the Department of Defense. He is a guy who sees not through the perspective of the generals or the bureaucrats. He looks at things through the perspective of the men and women that we send off to fight in our wars.
Both the Wall Street Journal and the National Review, conservative publications, as you know, have been critical of Tulsi Gabbard. The Review called her an atrocious nominee who deserves to be defeated. They compared her defense of Edward Snowden, the fugitive who stole U.S. secrets, to an attorney general who thinks the mob gets a bad rap. Her refusal to accept U.S. intelligence findings that Assad gassed his own people, they said, was like a nominee for OMB director not being able to count. Does any of this give you pause putting her in charge of the U.S. intelligence community? Yes or no?
No, Margaret, look, these are publications that attacked Donald J. Trump obsessively, but those publications don't determine who the president is. The
and
American
ultimately
people
supported
do.
Him.
And Donald J. Trump is the person who determines who his cabinet is, not these publications that I think, frankly, have lost relevance.
The Senate will
Tulsi
ultimately
Gabbard's.
decide.
Well, the Senate will provide advice and consent, as is its constitutional obligation, but I feel confident that Tulsi Gabbard will ultimately get through. Two things that are important to know about Tulsi. First of all, she is a career military servant who's had a classification at the highest levels for nearly 2 decades. She has impeccable character, impeccable record of service. And she also is a person who I think is going to bring some trust back to the intelligence services. The bureaucrats at our intelligence services have gotten completely out of control. They've been part of the weaponization of our political system, the weaponization of our justice system. We need to have good intelligence services who keep us safe. But part of that is restoring trust in those services. And we think Tulsi is the right person to do it. That's
She
why
doesn't
the
trust
president.
those intelligence services.
She recognizes that the bureaucrats have gotten out of control, and we need somebody there who's going to rein them in and return those services to their core mission of identifying. And
if he was a Democrat, she wouldn't keep fucking cutting him off and butting in while he's talking.
Hell no. Hell no. She would ask him easy ass questions like, Joe, what's your favorite ice cream? Shit like that. But him, nah.
Salute to John. Go ahead.
Nah, it's just that she doesn't let him answer one question. He tries to answer, then she asks another one. Like, yo, bitch, can you shut up?
Can you digest what I just said, bitch? It's like
For
you
real.
you not listening. You answering the next question. It's not even like you listening. You already. It's like you just waiting for me to finish and shit. Salute
Yeah.
to John Negro. He says, "Hello, Op Nation in chat. Thank you to whomever sent me a membership. Yeah, man. Salute to you. That would have probably been Douglas Chunks, man, or Bug Off, or somebody like that, man. Shout out to you, man.
Salute.
Salute to you, bro. My man Caleb West says it's the Biden effect. LOL. The last administration was so ineffective at Trump signing papers and taking questions in real time as Americans what in the third term. Yeah, I listen. That's a great point you make about that, man. Americans, they're at a point now where letting our nuts hang, like we're living vicariously through him, right? Through Trump, right?
Okay.
We're letting our nuts hang, and he's the perfect guy for it. Like he's
yeah.
the perfect guy when you let your nuts hang, and Americans are loving this, man. There's a wave of nationalism that has swept the country. I mean,
Yep.
it literally you can feel it. You can people are less worried about being racist. Now I will say Elon Musk had a lot to do with that by buying Twitter.
Hell yeah. That helped a
But
lot.
but Trump is definitely stoking the wave of nationalism that swept the country, and he's doing the right thing. He's giving the people what they want, and he's delivering on what they want, and he can make himself king. You know what I'm saying? If he keep doing this, man, he could make himself king, man. He could say,
Yeah.
"Fuck the president, I'm gonna be king of America." And people would okay it. They would say, "Sure, man, you can be king, man." Salute to Caleb West, man. That's very true, man. Shout out to Barry B, man. Barry B in the building. Salute to Barry B almost every night coming through, man. Shout out to my man Eric S, Op Nation Hall of Famer coming through once again. Salute to Pamela Henderson. Pamela Henderson in the building, man. Shout out to Lux247, aka Cal Ripken, aka the real MVP. Coming through once again. Salute to all you people, man. All of you regulars, man. Shout out to you, man. The show needs you guys, man. Relies on you guys, man. The backbone of the community, man, of the Nation, the community.
Yo, Ak, it's just that people are tired, like myself. We're fucking tired of struggling every month to pay bills, but they can't help us. They give people in North Carolina or California $700, but they got billions of dollars for fucking people in Ukraine, in Taiwan, and Israel. Like, what the fuck? The only country I respect and we should help out the most is Japan, because Japan sent 2 million to LA to help out with the fire, but no other country's doing that shit. I don't see fucking Israel doing it. I don't see fucking Ukraine doing it. I don't see nobody doing it, but we help them.
Yeah, and he's suspended foreign aid too, so it's like
yeah, for 90 days. I'm glad he did that. Fuck them.
Yeah. Salute to James, man. James says Petrie's screed against Trump was insane and hilarious. What a socialist clown. Yeah. Yeah, he talking about the president. Yeah, I gotta read that, man. What the president of Colombia wrote. That shit was he thought he was slick.
Information that's going to keep us safe.
You campaigned on lowering prices for consumers. We've seen all of these executive orders. Which one lowers prices?
We have done a lot, and there have been a number of executive orders that have caused already jobs to start coming back into our country, which is a core part of lowering prices. More capital investment, more job creation in our economy is one of the things that's going to drive down prices for all consumers, but also raise wages so that people can afford to buy the things that they need. If you look at our slate of executive orders,
bitch, why you cutting him off? He's the fucking vice president, you fucking whore.
Fuck up.
That shit is out of line, man.
Hell yeah, that's mad disrespectful. He's the vice president. Let him talk. The fact that he's even there, he don't have to be there. Like, bitch, appreciate the fact that he actually went there.
Yeah, like she wouldn't do that to a fucking rapper. If she was fucking interviewing Kendrick Lamar, she wouldn't fucking do this shit.
For real, she wouldn't. Or LeBron James or any of these people.
Yeah, bitch.
She would shut the fuck
executive
up.
orders. No, Margaret, prices are going to come down, but it's going to take a little bit of time, right? The president has been president for all of 5 days. I think that in those 5 days, he's accomplished more than Joe Biden did in 4 years. It's been an incredible breakneck pace of activity. We're going to work with Congress. We're, of course, going to have more executive orders, and we're going to try the way that you lower prices is that you encourage more capital investment into our country. And you ask specifically, what executive order is going to help lower prices? All of the stuff that we've done on energy, to explore more energy reserves, to develop more energy resources in the United States of America. One of the main drivers of increased prices under the Biden administration is that we had a massive increase in energy prices. Donald Trump has already taken multiple executive actions that are going to lower energy prices. And I do believe that means consumers are going to see lower prices at the pump and at the grocery store, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
And while we've done a whole lot, we can't undo all of the damage of Joe Biden's presidency
Well, there are a
in
lot of
4
things
days.
that contributed to higher energy prices, and there was record oil and gas production.
Yes, Joe Biden did many terrible things
things that
to
people
lead to an
see-
increase in prices. I agree, Margaret.
No, but all the things you experience at the grocery store are what people touch and feel. That's what you were talking about, bacon on the campaign trail.
Of course, of course.
Those things, when do consumers actually get to touch and feel a difference in their lives?
Well, Margaret, how does bacon get to the grocery store? It comes on trucks that are fueled by diesel fuel. If the diesel is way too expensive, the bacon's going to become more expensive. How do we grow the bacon? Our farmers need energy to produce it. So if we lower energy prices, we are going to see lower prices for consumers, and that is what we're trying to fight for.
Well, the flurry of executive orders, most of them weren't about the economy. Many of them
were, though, Margaret. We had, I think we've
a
taken
promise
over
of tariffs by February 1st.
We've taken over 200 executive actions, some executive orders, other executive actions. Again, this is in less than a week, and a lot of them were focused on the economy, bringing investment into our country and lowering energy prices. We've also focused on safety, restoring public safety, ending weaponization of the Department of Justice. We've done a lot. And I think the president is to be commended for actually coming in and doing something with this incredible mandate the American people gave him. He's not sitting in the Oval Office doing nothing. He's doing the American people's business. And I think they're going to see a lot of good effects from it.
Well, a lot of these announcements have yet to take effect.
Sure.
The president did say he wants to do something with an executive order in relation to federal emergency response. He said he may reform or eliminate FEMA. Instead of sending emergency responders, he may start to send a percentage of money to states to take care of themselves. But, you know, FEMA has specialized expertise that some of these states just don't.
Bitch, there was a time when there was no FEMA. Before Katrina, there was no FEMA. There was a time before there was Homeland Security. She act like this shit always been around. These agencies was created in the last 20 years. They ain't always been around.
Facts.
We it's not like we're getting rid of something that's core to our country. These things was popped up, and if they're not working, get rid of them. Or if they're not working efficiently, get rid of them and try something new.
Yeah, they definitely weren't working.
In their arsenal. And
I wish
how
that they-
will states who are lower income states, the Mississippis, the Kentuckys, the Alabamas, be able to do this for themselves without federal help?
Well, the president, to be clear, is not saying we're going to leave anybody behind. He's saying that in the way that we administer these resources, some of which is coming from the federal level, some of which is coming from the state level, we've got to get the bureaucrats out of the way and get the aid to the people who need it most.
But these
Let's
are the
be
first
honest,
responders.
Margaret, you talk about the expertise from FEMA. FEMA in North Carolina, in California, in Florida with some of the hurricanes has often been a disaster. And it's not because we don't have good people at FEMA, it's because bureaucratic red tape and garbage prevents the rapid deployment of resources to
But
the
the
people who need
states
it
are
most.
now going to have to do this themselves?
The president is trying to encourage us to reform the way that we deliver emergency response in a way that gets resources
So
to the
don't
people
take
who
him
need it.
literally,
No,
is what you're saying.
We should take the president at his word that FEMA needs desperate reform, because it does. Margaret, when I went to North Carolina as VP-elect, but before we were sworn in, people would talk about how FEMA would get resources, food, medicine, water to a warehouse, but then would have no plan to get it from the warehouse to the people in the mountains who were literally starving and thirsting to death. We
That's
can
facts.
do so much better, and under Donald Trump's leadership, we will.
But they work with the state and local officials.
They often
So
don't work
now
well
it's
enough. And again, that's
going
not
to be on the
because
state
of
and local officials?
the FEMA management officials don't work well enough with state and local officials to get resources to the people who need it. We should expect, and this is, I think, one of the fundamental premises of President Trump's leadership, the American people should expect more of their government. When there's a terrible disaster, they should expect food, medicine, and water to get to the people who need it. When there's a terrible fire in California, the fire hydrants ought to actually turn on. I am sick of the American people having such low expectations for their government. They should demand more of us, because it's the greatest country in the world, and that's what Donald Trump's leadership promises to bring back.
So still count on the federal government, but watch that space. Let me ask you about another area that you campaigned on
I hate this
quite a
bitch.
lot, and there was a flurry of activity on, and that has to do with immigration.
Sure.
The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops this week condemned some of the executive orders signed by President Trump, specifically those allowing immigration and customs enforcement to enter churches and to enter schools. Do you personally support the idea of conducting a raid or enforcement action in a church service, at a school?
Well, let me address this. Of course, if you have a person who is convicted of a violent crime, whether they're an illegal immigrant or a non-illegal immigrant, you have to go and get that person to protect the public safety. That's not unique to immigration. But let me just address this particular issue, Margaret, because as a practicing Catholic, I was actually heartbroken by that statement. And I think that the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops needs to actually look in the mirror a little bit and recognize that when they receive over $100 million to help resettle illegal immigrants, are they worried about humanitarian concerns, or are they actually worried about their bottom line? We are going to enforce immigration law. We're going to protect the American people.
Yeah.
Donald Trump promised to do that. And I believe the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, if they're worried about the humanitarian costs of immigration enforcement, let them talk about the children who have been sex trafficked because of the wide open border of Joe Biden.
You
Let
personally
them
support.
And look, he just talked about sex trafficked children, and she didn't even fucking let him breathe. She immediately changed the subject.
Right
If
away,
you're a
too.
woman, she should have been like, yeah, great point. She should have been like, good point. Oh, yeah, that is excellent that we're doing something about sex trafficking. She's like, blah, blah, blah.
Yo,
That's it.
yo, rude ass bitch. And he's got a good point, too. Yo,
Yeah,
what
what
about all
about
that sex trafficking?
Yeah, the children that get
Yeah.
raped on the way over here by the coyotes and all that shit. She doesn't give a
Yeah.
fuck about none of that. She's evil. This woman, all these women on the news or on these shows, they're all wicked.
We are going to enforce immigration law. We're going to protect the American people.
Yeah.
Donald Trump promised to do that. And I believe the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, if they're worried about the humanitarian costs of immigration enforcement, let them talk about the children who have been sex trafficked because of the wide open border of Joe
So
Biden.
you personally
let them talk
support them
about
going into
people like
schools
Laken
and
Riley who
churches.
were brutally murdered. I support us doing law enforcement against violent criminals, whether they're illegal immigrants or anybody else, in a way that keeps us safe. Let me ask this question,
But
Margaret. Let's separate the immigration issue. If you had a violent murderer in a school, of course I want law enforcement to go and
course.
get that person out.
Of
So what's
course.
the point of the question?
You
Of course, bitch. That ain't what the fuck you. You didn't realize that until he just said it like that.
Yeah, for real. Hey, yo, she doesn't mention the part where there's 300,000 kids who cross the border and we have no idea where they're at. No
No
idea.
idea. Yep.
Like literally disappeared. And they don't talk about that. They don't talk about, hey, what about these kids? And when they brought them in front of the Senate and asked them about it, they had no answer. They were like, oh, well, once we receive them and we send them to a sponsor, we don't keep track of them. So basically, you give them to whoever, and whatever happens to them, happens to them. Basically, what
And
they said.
those kids are being abused and all types of held in
terrible ways.
dungeons.
Yep, all
Yeah,
that shit.
and they don't care. They don't give a
Forced
shit.
to sell drugs, forced to
regulation this
join
week. That's-
gangs, all that.
Forced to sell booty.
You
Let
personally
them talk
support them
about
going into
people like
schools
Laken
and
Riley
churches.
who were brutally murdered. I support us doing law enforcement against violent criminals, whether they're illegal immigrants or anybody else, in a way that keeps us safe. Let me ask this question, Margaret. Let's separate the immigration issue. If you had a violent murderer in a school, of course I want law enforcement to go and get that person out.
Of
So what's
course.
the point of the question?
You changed the regulation this week. That's the point of the question.
Exactly.
Giving the authority
Yes.
to go into churches and go into schools.
We empowered law enforcement to enforce
But
the
that
law
also
everywhere
has a
to protect
knock-on
Americans.
effect, a chilling effect, arguably, to people to not send their kids to school.
I desperately hope it has a chilling
In the
effect on
churches,
illegal
you think
immigrants
the
coming
U.S.
into our
Conference
country.
of Catholic Bishops are actively hiding criminals from
I think the
law
U.S.
enforcement?
Conference of Catholic Bishops has frankly not been a good partner in common sense immigration enforcement that the American people voted for. And I hope, again, as a devout Catholic, that they'll do better.
There are 5 legal challenges already to one of the other immigration actions, the order on birthright citizenship. A federal judge appointed by Ronald Reagan, I think you'd agree, has some conservative credentials, paused the order to end birthright citizenship, calling it blatantly unconstitutional. How do you reconcile this challenge to the 14th Amendment to the Constitution?
So I obviously disagree with that judge, and these things, some of them will be litigated. That's the nature of our constitutional system. But here's the basic idea of President Trump's view on this. If you are a lawful permanent resident or a legal immigrant who plans to stay, your children, of course, should become American citizens. But let's say you're the child of an ambassador. You don't become.
But that's not part of it.
Well, that
There's
is
already a carve-out
an
having to deal
important
with kids of
principle.
diplomats.
But we're saying that carve-out should apply to anybody who doesn't plan to stay here. If you come here on vacation and you have a baby in an American hospital, that baby doesn't become an American citizen. If you're an illegal alien and you come here temporarily, hopefully, your child does not become an American citizen by virtue of just having been born on American soil. It's a very basic principle in American immigration law that if you want to become an American citizen and you've done it the right way, and the American people and their collective wisdom have welcomed you into our national community, then you become a citizen. But temporary residents, people who come in here, whether legally or illegally, and don't plan to stay, their children should become American citizens. I don't know any country that does that or why we would be different.
Oh, but this is a country founded by immigrants.
Well, this is a country
This is
founded
a unique
by
country.
This is a
little dumbass smile, bitch. That's not no slam dunk. That's not no
For real.
flex like you think it is, whore. Every country was founded by immigrants. Every country, people moved there and shit. And there was movement between places and conquering. And sometimes some people conquered people and then they got conquered, just like the Aztecs. The Aztecs conquered, I think it was the Mexica, whoever the fuck was there. They
some shit like that.
Yeah, they conquered them, and then 200 years later, the fucking Cortez and the conquistadors came and conquered them.
Facts.
Okay, so it's like they was only there for 200 years before they got conquered.
Yeah,
very unique country, and it was founded by some immigrants and some settlers. But just because we were founded by immigrants doesn't mean that 240 years later that we have to have the dumbest immigration policy in the world. No country says that temporary visitors, their children, will be given complete access to the benefits and blessings of American citizenship. America should actually look out for the interests of our citizens first. And that means, again, if you're here permanently and lawfully, your kid becomes an American citizen. If you're not here permanently If you're not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and don't plan to be, why would we make those people's children American citizens permanently?
I want to ask you about refugee admissions, which were just suspended by the president. That has nothing to do with the U.S. border. Refugee screening takes 18 to 24 months to go through. They are heavily vetted. Left literally at the airport this week were thousands of Afghans, some of whom had worked with the United States government and were promised to come here. When you talked to us in August, you said, I don't think we should abandon anybody who's been properly vetted and helped us. Do you stand by that?
Well, Margaret, I don't agree that all these immigrants or all these refugees have been properly vetted. In fact, we know that there are cases of people who allegedly were properly vetted and then were literally planning terrorist attacks on our country. That happened during the campaign, if you may remember. So clearly not all of these foreign nationals
but there are
have been properly
30,000
vetted.
people in the pipeline, Afghan refugees.
But my primary
Do you stand by
concern
it?
as the vice president, Margaret, is to look after the American people. And now that
So
we
no.
know that we have vetting problems with a lot of these refugee programs, we absolutely cannot unleash thousands of unvetted people into our country.
These
It's
people are
not
vetted.
good.
These people are vetted.
Just like the guy who planned a terrorist attack in Oklahoma a few months ago, he was allegedly properly vetted. And many people in the media and the Democratic Party said that he was properly vetted. Clearly he wasn't. I don't want my children to share a neighborhood with people who are not properly vetted. And because I don't want it for my kids, I'm not going to force any other American citizens' kids to do that either.
No, and that was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't really
But,
care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country. And I think most Americans agree with me.
2 weeks ago, you were on Fox News and you said, if you protested peacefully on January 6th and had Merrick Garland's Department of Justice treat you like a gang member, you should be pardoned. If you committed violence on that day, obviously you shouldn't be pardoned. Did you counsel the president against these blanket pardons for 1,500 people,
Well, Margaret, I noticed
including those who committed violence?
Margaret, I noticed that you cut off the thing that I said immediately after that. The full quote is that, of course, there are gray areas. And here's the nature of the gray area. Merrick Garland's Department of Justice denied constitutional protections in the prosecutions. There were double standards in how sentences were applied to the J6 protesters versus other groups. What the president said consistently on the campaign is that he was going to look at a case-by-case basis.
This is blanket.
And that's exactly what we did. We looked at 1,600 cases. And the thing that came out of it, Margaret, is that there was a massive denial of due process of liberty. And a lot of people were denied their constitutional rights. The president believes that. I believe that, and I think he made the right decision.
Daniel Rodriguez used an electroshock weapon against a policeman who was dragged out of the defensive line by plunging it into the officer's neck. He was in prison, sentenced to 12 years, 7 months. He got a pardon. Ronald Maccabee hit a cop while wearing reinforced brass knuckle gloves, and he held one down on the ground as other rioters assailed the officer for over 20 seconds, causing a concussion. If you stand with law enforcement, how can you call these people unjustly imprisoned?
Margaret, you're separating, there's an important issue here. There's what the people actually did on January the 6th, and we're not saying that everybody did everything perfectly. And then what did Merrick Garland's Department of Justice do in unjustly prosecuting well over 1,000 Americans in a way that was politically
Is
motivated?
violence like that against a police officer ever justified?
Violence against a police officer is not justified, but that doesn't mean that you should have Merrick Garland's weaponized Department of Justice expose you to incredibly unfair process, to denial of constitutional rights, and frankly, to a double standard that was not applied to many people, including, of course, the Black Lives Matter rioters who killed over 24 people and never had the weight of a weaponized Department of Justice come against them. The pardon power is not just for people who are angels or people who are perfect. And of course, we love our law enforcement and want people to be peaceful with everybody, but especially with our good cops. That's a separate issue from what Merrick Garland's Department of Justice did. We rectified a wrong, and I stand by it.
I'm being told we're out of time, but I want to quickly ask you, the richest men in the world were at that Capitol on Inauguration Day, heads of Amazon, Google, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. In August, you told us Google and Facebook are too big. We ought to take the Teddy Roosevelt approach, break them up. Don't let them control what people are allowed to say. They've now donated to the Trump inauguration. Are you still going to break up big tech?
So, you know who else was at the inauguration was my mom and a lot of people who just supported the president and fought every single day to get his election. and
They
to make
did
it
$1 million
and to make it possible.
each to the inauguration.
And there were a lot of people who didn't give $1 million to the inauguration.
They got pretty good seating.
Who were on that stage, Margaret. They didn't have as good a seating as my mom and a lot of other people who were there to support us. But look, we believe fundamentally that big tech does have too much power. And there are two ways they can go about this. They can either respect Americans' constitutional rights. They can stop engaging in censorship. And if they don't, you can be absolutely sure that Donald Trump's leadership is not going to look too kindly on them.
So they're still on notice.
They're very much on notice.
She probably thinks she was too easy on him because he answered to. He's so good that she went back to her fucking liberal den or whoever the fuck she answers to, and they were probably like, "You let him off the hook." It's like, no, she didn't leave him off the hook. He just way sharper than she is and way smarter and more intelligent than she is. That's all. She didn't let him off the hook. She tried to fucking be rude and sassy with him.
Yo, she was such a clown. She doesn't mention the fact that in January 6th, the people who got arrested, a lot of them didn't even get charges. They were just held in prison with no charges, nothing. They were just held there. And when they would ask, well, what are my charges? They didn't get any.
Exactly. Salute to Caleb West. He says, to piggyback on what the panelists said about the illegals at NYC, illegals receive free health care, free housing, universal income, and a legal can have a baby at a hospital and not see any costs. Yeah, my baby,
That's true.
It costs a lot to have my baby, man. I mean, we still paying for that shit. Like, it costs a lot, man. That shit is no joke. And that's even with the insurance. It costs a lot.
I've seen it happen to people when because I work in the ER when pregnant, a pregnant woman will come in. Yeah, their bills are expensive because they have to deal with so many doctors and nurses and this and that and put them on this monitor and all that.
CCs of that,
Yeah, all that shit,
that scan. Yeah, and then especially if it's the pregnancy, a high risk pregnancy,
a complicated pregnancy. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like especially if they have to go to the NICU, which is like neonatal intensive care.
Yeah, I was in it. My daughter was in the NICU for 2 weeks.
Oh, really? What? She was premature?
Yeah, she was 7 weeks premature.
Yeah, definitely. That adds a lot because there they have special doctors, like specialists and special nurses too, who work only with babies.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely that adds a lot to the bill. Yep. Anything with a specialist is gonna be way more expensive.
No arrests of undocumented ICE agents carry out targeted operations in the Bay Area. We have reaction from city leaders and residents who are now left on edge.
Now, live from the Bay Area's local news station, this is KRON 4 News at 10.
Hello, thank you for joining us on KRON 4 News at 10. I'm Stephanie Rothman. President Trump's plans of mass deportations are underway as ICE agents report at least 1,400 arrests across the country, with many more expected to come. Tonight, we're learning new details about targeted operations in the Bay Area. San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan's office told KRON 4 ICE agents were in the city today. Mahan says he hopes ICE is targeting criminals and not law-abiding citizens. Tonight, we'll hear from those directly affected, the legal challenges are now emerging, and how it all plays a part in the national immigration debate. While no arrests of undocumented people were confirmed out of San Jose, the migrant community there says they're scared of future enforcement. KRON 4's Jacques Mohamed has the story.
This is the Target parking lot at Eastside San Jose, where local organizations tell us they spotted several ICE agents loading up one of their trucks. They tell us it's the first time in many years they've seen immigration officials in this part of San Jose, which does have a large number of migrant families.
So once the agents confirmed that they were not San Jose police, I asked, "Are you ICE?" And they nodded.
Socorro Montano works with the Rapid Response Hotline of Santa Clara County, and since President Trump took office last week, her office has gotten hundreds of calls, mostly rumors, but on Sunday, it was the real thing. Immigration officers in Eastside San Jose. This video taken at the Target parking lot off Story and King.
It's only been a week, but this is the first time we've had verified, confirmed activity in our county.
ICE officials did not reply to Crown 4's request for comment, so we don't know if they arrested anyone, but Montano says she thinks it was targeting just one or two people.
After they were heading back to their car, somebody exited the house, and they said, "Is that him?" And they said, "No."
And San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan says San Jose police were aware that ICE was in town and sent a statement to Crown 4 News saying in part, "I sincerely hope that ICE remains focused on enforcement actions related to violent and serious criminals harming our city, not neighbors who are contributing and law-abiding members of our community."
What is your take on, I guess, President Trump saying we're going after the criminals first, then we'll see where we go from there?
At least in the Bay Area, the San Francisco raid, now here in South Bay, what I'm hearing is that there are people of interest who are in one of those categories I mentioned, either deportation orders.
That's immigration attorney Gabriel Espinoza Ramos. He says while criminals may be the target, the migrant community at large has every right to be on edge.
Unfortunately, government agents sometimes do not follow protocol. And in those processes, that is when violations happen, where they try to get people to incriminate themselves.
He says that's why ICE has been seen lately in big cities such as San Jose. And off Story and King at La Placita Tropicana, it was empty after ICE enforcement made their way. Business owners here say the migrant community is vital to their business. And Montano says in recent years, Colombian and Venezuelans have made Eastside San Jose their home.
I think there's a real fear of detention and deportation, but there's also always that fear of family separation, right? Of one parent being detained or deported and leaving their kids behind.
But as the day continued, so did the businesses, like at La Mas Querida, celebrating culture and with family. Prideful of the migrant and first-generation families that make this neighborhood what it is.
Latino community, it's always been strong, and then as you can hear, people are trying to have fun, whatever, going through any time, they just actually try to be happy with their loved ones.
Here in Eastside San Jose, Jack Mulman, Crown 4 News.
I think the last time we were in this.
Salute. Salute to Big Larry, man. Big Larry in the building, man. My man Michael says, everyone please Google the word immigrant. The real founders were settlers, not immigrants. They moved here as English citizens to English colonies. Great point.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah, I never thought of it like that, but good point.
Yeah, that's real history right there, man. Real history.
Glad he brought that up.
Yeah.
You see, hey, to the nation out there, you learning good stuff out here. Hit that like. If you can, spread $1 or $2, whatever you can, but definitely hit that like.
Yeah, smash that like button, man. Oh yeah, we did this video.
The Dallas man was sentenced to 72 years in prison for brutally murdering his wife. James Michael Patrick gave little reaction when he learned his fate for killing Janine Chapman. Chapman was an accomplished woman who once worked for the Duchess of York. Today, her loved ones minced no words, sharing what they think of Patrick. Fox Sports' David Santandri was in court today, and David's live in Dallas outside the courthouse tonight. David?
Yeah, Steve, it's a 72-year sentence for that brutal murder. And today the victim's family was telling this now convicted killer face-to-face exactly how they feel about him.
I will never forgive you
For nearly a year and a half, Shireen Chapman has been working to find words to say to James Michael Patrick, the man who showed no emotion Friday as he was sentenced to 72 years in prison for murdering his wife, Janine Chapman, Shireen's sister.
May you endure a life of perpetual fear and decay, confined to an existence devoid of solace or redemption. I want you to suffer every day for the rest of your life. And I want him to hear those words forever.
In 2023, Janine Chapman took time away from work for domestic issues. But when her office did not hear from her for 5 days, police were called for a welfare check. Chapman was found dead in her downtown Dallas apartment. Her family says her body was unrecognizable. Patrick was arrested at a hospital in Austin after he was admitted for treatment to an adverse reaction to an unknown substance he took. While in the hospital, he told doctors he got a bloody and black fingernail while fighting with his wife.
You showed no ounce of remorse or emotion towards my sister during the entire trial.
Janine Chapman previously worked as a personal assistant to Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, for 5 years after college. The Duchess shared her condolences on social media after the murder and has followed up with Chapman's mother in the aftermath.
She called me 3 times. We talked, and she gave me her sympathies, and she told me if there's anything she can do, I must let her know.
Family members spent an hour delivering victim impact statements to Patrick.
You're a monster, and I will sleep well at night, knowing that you are where you belong, in prison, away from society.
One day, a CO will open your cell, and you will be dead on your metal stone bed. And that will be the end of your story.
Now that they've expressed their pain to the killer, they want to share a message with the world.
To people out there, if they see any sign or indication that a loved one is being impacted by a toxic or abusive relationship, do not take the signs lightly.
Now, it's quite common after a jury verdict for jurors to leave and go home. Their job is done, but that didn't happen today. After the verdict, there was the sentencing phase, and that took several hours. And a lot of these jurors, they actually stuck around throughout that process, some of them in tears in the courtroom during those victim impact statements. They went up to the family members of the victim. They gave hugs. And afterwards, speaking with the victim's family in the hallway, they were telling me they felt these jurors really empathized with them and felt the pain of that loss they're experiencing.
R.I.P. to her, man. Salute to that family, man. Those are some good impact statements, man. They never talk to sons when son killed their family member. They don't talk to son like that. They let the white boy have it, man. Yeah. Salute to Boy Kachini says, "Oh yeah, undo that undue process mess. It made me mash up Mr. Googly Tube for censoring our man." Yeah.
Hit that like.
Shout out to Boy Kachina, man. He says, told my congressional rep to bust up Googly Tube.
Hey, salute to you, homie.
Shout out to Googly Tube, man. We on Googly Tube right now, man. Googly Tube giving us a platform, man.
That's true.
Shout out to Googly Tube, man. Let me see.
But still, hit that like. You don't get this type of info anywhere else. Come on. You could do your homeboy Cat a favor. Hit that like.
How many likes we got? Do you know?
We got what? I can't see it. Somebody in the chat. Y'all let the boss know how much we got.
Let's see what's going on here, man.
203.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Glizzy.
Glizzy.
Come on, keep hitting them likes and tell a friend to tell a friend, because we out here, we could talk freely And there's not too many places you could be like this, talking freely and expressing how you really feel without being called a racist or a traitor. I get called that, a traitor, because I want illegals deported. They think that because I'm Brito, I should want them to stay. It's like, no, I don't want them to stay. Hell no.
Yeah, that's the dumbest fucking reason to like. Well, they Democrats do operate like that along racial lines, so they probably think they're shocked when other people don't do that.
Yeah.
Everything's about race and group, whatever group you're from, with them. So yeah, it's hard for them to realize that it's just not. We don't think like that. Salute to John Black, man. Says, hey, I think everyone enjoyed that dry hump that the Philippines guy put on Wicked World the other night. I'm thinking he's still butthurt from that.
Literally.
Damn. I missed most of that, didn't I? I think I stepped away.
Yeah, I think you went to check on your daughter or something.
Yeah, I gotta go back and look at that, man. I didn't know he destroyed Wicked like that, man.
They were just going back and forth for a minute there, like just.
Wow. Man. Yeah, we gotta check that out, man. Salute to everybody out there, man. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. He dropped. God damn.
But yeah, I hope fucking Trump, keeps it up and keeps these fucking people the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I hope he declares himself king, man. I declare myself king of America. That'll be interesting, man. See how they like that. Can you imagine him?
That's
Can
crazy.
you imagine if he did that? Oh my god. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. He did that. Oh Lord, we would never hear the end of it, man. That would be some that'd be some real problems right there. They might
Definitely.
revolt if he did that.
It's crazy how fucking.
Oh, these are people arriving back in Brazil. You should
Oh,
be
really?
happy, man. Well, here we go.
Glenview family is speaking out tonight after their 20-year-old daughter died in a hit-and-run crash in downstate Urbana, a crash allegedly caused by an undocumented Guatemalan who fled the scene.
She was such a huge personality. She was such a sense of humor.
Yeah, we did that
Yeah,
last
who's
night,
that?
man.
Hey, she cute.
Yeah,
Whoever that. Smash,
we
whoever
did
that is.
this. We did this the other night, man. But I played again.
Humor. She was so witty. She was so clever. She was so bright.
Her father says 20-year-old Katie Abraham, a junior at Ohio University, was visiting friends at the University of Illinois last weekend when the car she and her friends were riding in was suddenly hit.
They were at a stoplight, and there was someone who was driving drunk who hit them from behind at full force. And following the accident, he fled on foot.
Katie died at the scene, and her friend, 21-year-old Chloe Polson of Deerfield, died the following day. A few days later, U.S. Marshals arrested 29-year-old Julio Cachul Bol, a Guatemalan national in the United States using an alias, on a bus in Texas heading to the Mexican border.
We were very concerned that, when we found out that he wasn't from here, we were afraid that he was going to flee. So knowing that they caught him and we have a chance to get justice for Katie, it was great. Because that's all we want. We want justice for Katie. We want this man to have the maximum sentence possible for all of the pain he's caused, our family.
They say they're speaking out because they believe the U.S. needs to do a better job monitoring who comes into the country.
I don't want to get too political because that's not going to bring Katie back, but certainly, I would like to see, I guess, more vetting. He was drinking, he was driving, but is that who we want in, when we're thinking of immigration?
And they're also asking for the public's help in providing information about the suspect's whereabouts the night of the crash to help the Urbana Police Department build its drunk driving case. Katie's body is back home in the Chicago area now, and funeral services are being planned.
This is breaking news. ICE carrying.
Wow. Salute to everybody out there, man. Any final thoughts, man?
I hope Trump keeps it up, keeps deporting these jerk-offs, and good night. Hope everybody sleeps well.
Hey, Mr. Philly, man, I gotta holler at you in the back. You still up, Mr. Philly? I don't know. He might be asleep, man.